welcome to the Power Gamer Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dawson, joined as always by fellow host Johnny Paulus.
Yo.
Johnny, welcome in.
What's going on?
On our second episode now of 2023. Do we say, is it time to stop saying Happy New Year?
Yeah, I think we're a weekend. I think it's now the 8th. If you're listening to this on Monday, it's the 9th. Yeah, I think we can stop saying Happy New Year.
That's always been a point of contention for me, is what's the day that you stop wishing people Happy New Year? Like, now, if you haven't seen someone, right? And, you know, like, let's say tomorrow you bumped into somebody you haven't seen all year yet, all 10 days.
Yeah.
Are you going to say
I wouldn't find it weird.
Happy New Year, Joe Smo?
I don't know. That's a really good question. Generally I'm about a week and then I kind of stop saying it, but you bring up a good point. If it was somebody I hadn't seen yet this year and I saw them tomorrow, maybe I would. I really don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the cutoff is definitely January. Like, you can't go into February. You get to February 1st, there's no more wishing Happy New Year.
Yeah, hard agree there for sure. I would say the cutoff is the 15th. I think 2 weeks in, I think if you're in the third week of January and somebody says Happy New Year, they're going to look at you and be like, let it go, Bo. I mean, we're good.
Yeah, but this year already sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we haven't quite reached that point yet. We're only 8 days in, so far, for me at least.
Yeah.
Things have been good. 2023, you're doing all right. I
got the deal of the century last week. I was off work, and we were in need of a sofa, and so we went to an outlet store, and they had this it was like a $2,200 sectional, but it was in the outlet section. It was $750.
$200 sectional.
Yeah, it was over a $2,000 powered sectional. It's in the outlet section for $750, and I'm going, damn, we got to do this. And then we keep looking around the outlet. I find a matching corner unit from the same set. It's marked at $35. And I looked at my wife. I was like, we have to do this. If we have to buy the sofa right now. So we go get the sales rep. She comes over, and I said, yeah, so we're going to take it right now today. Like, I've already Googled it. There's a U-Haul a half mile away. We're literally going to go pick up a truck, load up the sofa. We're taking it today. She goes, great. If we don't have to deliver it, you're going to take it today. I'll give you $100 off. It's like $650. Done. Let's go.
I just paid for your U-Haul.
U-Haul was, I don't know, $120, $130, something like that. Only because we had to pick it up in Rockville and drive it all the way home to Annapolis. But yeah, we got a smoking deal. Brand new sectional sofa.
What happened to the green monster?
It's a giveaway right now if anybody wants it.
It's a nice couch.
It is a nice couch. It's just beat up.
Yeah. Where do you throw it? Out back?
Yeah, it's outside right now.
Okay. I was like, yeah, there's not really. I know the layout of your house is like, between all your books and shit, there's no room for a second couch to be laying around.
No, there is not.
Well, if there's no takers and you need a friend with a pickup truck, just remember, I've got one of those.
Okay, we might have to do that.
Yeah, because that's likely headed to the dump.
Yeah, agreed.
So, well, you went to a happy place. I was actually about to get extremely dark for a second. Apologies.
Oh no.
But it has to be said, at least by me, because I was being sarcastic when I said 2023 is off to a great start. One of my all-time favorite public figures ever, I mean, ever, and Johnny can easily back this one, tragically died this past week.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's Ken Block. I've been into rally sports since 1999, when I would stay up late at night and watch WRC on the Speed Channel, when they would do the highlights from the rallies, about 10 p.m. And, back in the day watching Tommy Mäkinen go on it in his heyday, and I've been hooked on cars basically ever since. Gran Turismo was responsible for that, so there's the video game tie-in, because in the old Gran Turismo you could drive Tommy's Mitsubishi Lancer in the rally stages. And Ken Block came around sort of in the mid 2000s. He's the founder of DC Shoes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ken Block founded DC Shoes, and he didn't get into motorsport until he could, because motorsport's fucking expensive. So he didn't start driving professionally until he was 36.
Wow.
So my age.
Wow.
And just a freak talent, just an absolute freak of nature. And between his old shoe company, he founded Hoonigan, which is a huge car culture brand. He's done ARA, American Rally Association. That's the rally that he competes in. He's been invited out to run actual WRC stages. Of course, his Gymkhana series is huge. Ken Block is a huge name in video games. Dirt 3 is basically the Ken Block video game, and it's fucking fantastic. He's all over the Need for Speed franchise. His cars pop up in Forza. I didn't say Horza. Forza Horizon. He permeates video game culture, and genuinely is just one of the nicest, or was the nicest, human being on the planet Earth. He was always family first. He had a deep connection with a local hero here in Maryland, Travis Pastrana, who lives right down the street from me and Johnny, essentially.
Yep.
Competed against him in ARA. Ken almost won the championship last year. He just had a couple of ugly DNFs that stopped that from happening. Just a true legend. And unfortunately with motorsport, it's something you have to be prepared for. Motorsport is true sport. There are games and there are sports. And in sports, you risk it all. And motorsport is a sport. Because, in my lifetime, the amount of people we've lost in motorsport, Ayrton Senna, Colin McRae, Ken Block, of course. The list just goes on and
Dale
on.
Dale Earnhardt.
Earnhardt, absolutely. Jules Bianchi. In F1, the list just goes on. And then you get over to bikes and the Isle of TT. It's how many die each year. They're absolute warriors. They put it all out on the line. And unfortunately, he had a freak accident on a snowmobile out on his ranch in Utah. The day that it happened, his last post was of the plows clearing out his snowmobiling thing. And he says, yeah, we're going to go tear it up tomorrow on YouTube. I've got a video dropping. We just redid my daughter's car. We're going to do that tomorrow. And hours later, he's dead. He's gone. So 2023, fuck you already.
So would you say that, like, just trying to compare it to like my sports heroes, would it be like Cal Ripken? Would you say Ken Block is like your Cal Ripken?
Not mine personally. Like,
right.
I know what you mean by Cal Ripken. He's just like your dude, Ken's close to that.
Got it.
If Travis Pastrana had that accident, I'd be a mess.
Yeah.
He's the local guy. He does fucking everything. Yep. And Travis is scary.
He is.
Travis is scary because he just put out his the new Gymkhana video with Hoonigan, with Ken Block, where he took this tricked out 80s Subaru station wagon, basically. He hit a jump at 130 miles an hour. This dude is the sketchiest dude on the planet. And he somehow...
Yeah.
He's broken every bone in his body, I think, more than once. and he has to be an absolute mess after this.
What I think Travis Pastrana is kind of the closest we have to an Evel Knievel at this point.
Oh, he's so beyond
right.
Like Evel Knievel was sketchy just because when he was doing it and the lack of safety that they had. But the stuff Travis does is just mental, absolutely nuts. So, I hope he doesn't slow down after this, but I totally understand if he could. He's got kids, and seeing Ken Block's family deal with this, it probably gives you pause. So we'll see. So 2023 is off to a rough start. Ken Block, I wouldn't have thought in a million years we'd be talking about Ken Block, because Ken's awesome, but he never did anything that was that sketchy. He just did cool shit in cars. He liked to do burnouts. That was Ken Block. He wasn't flying off ramps and doing all this dumb shit. He just liked to drive fast. And it sucks. It couldn't happen to a nicer person. And I just want all of my favorite athletes to stay the fuck away from snow.
No shit.
Stay away from snow, okay?
Jeremy Renner, too. Stop it. Stay away from the snow, guys.
Stay away from snow. Yeah, he
just get snowed in. It's fine.
Chipper shredded his leg in a fucking snow blower. He's fortunately okay, it seems. But everybody needs to chill out next to a fireplace and stay out of the snow. It's fucking dangerous out there.
Yeah, just get snowed in. It's fine.
So I'm sure plenty of you out there listening were familiar with Ken Block. And yeah, I mean, if you played a racing game in the past 20 years, you know who this guy is. So rest in peace, Ken, and to his family. We're just incredibly sorry. That out of the way, let's brighten things up for a moment. Welcome in. It's episode 99 of the Power Gamer podcast. As usual, we have much to discuss this week. But first, we're going to start, as we always do, by discussing the games that we've been playing. Johnny, how are you feeling? Would you like to go first this week?
Sure, I can start off.
All right.
Finally rolled credits on God of War Ragnarok. And is better than the last one. It's the closest to a masterpiece that I played all of last year. It is a really, really, truly excellent game. My wife was glued into it. We could have been watching Lord of the Rings with how sucked in she was. I would get home from work, we'd have dinner for the kids, we'd put the kids to bed, we'd sit down on the couch, and she'd literally hand me the controller and be like, all right, I'm going to go get a snack. It's it's God of War time. She was in. But I don't have anything else to say about it. It was pretty goddamn close to perfect. It was better than the last one in every way. And, I don't know where they're going to go next, but I'm interested to be there, and I will,
so
day one purchase again.
My question, as someone who hasn't had a chance to play it yet, and part of that's your fault, by the way.
Why is that?
Because Amy listens to our show. I don't know if Megan listens to the show, but Amy listens to the show religiously. Somehow she can tolerate listening to me talk on a show
for an extra hour.
That's true love right there.
Mm-hmm.
But she wants what you and Megan have, which is that time after dinner watching the game. And she has put her foot in the ground that we're going to do that with this God of War game. So I'm okay with it.
And you should. I mean, you guys are going to love it. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, it's just that the way that I digest video games is indulgence.
Yes.
I just go nonstop. So it is tough for me to think, okay, I've got to schedule time where I play a game that's different from the other games that I'm playing. That is difficult for me.
Yep.
That's not where I was going. Sorry, that was kind of a tangent. My question is,
sure.
Because coming into it, I already know that this game wraps the whole Norse part of God of War.
Yes.
They said that before the game even had a release date. So the question is, does it conclude the Norse timeline, and does it stick the landing? Two-part question.
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes. Okay.
Yep.
Well, that
really
bodes
hard
well
to
for
go any further without spoiling anything, so I will not go any further. But yes and yes.
Fair enough. All right, that satiates my questions because I don't want to stand you into another hour of me editing out spoilers.
Yeah, and like I if I had to score it, this is up there. It's a 9.7, 9.8, and the ones that I ding it for was there were a handful of repetitive puzzles that I got a little tired of.
Write down your score in our sheet. Okay, just as a reminder, because we're real loose and fast with these scores, but we have to write them down. So, jot that down if you have our doc open.
Yeah, I got it open. I'll put it in there.
And we don't want to forget your numerical score.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 9.7. And it really is some very minor stuff that kept it out of a perfect 10.
That is a strange score, 9.7. It's like there must have been just a few moments that annoyed you.
Yeah, there were, and then there were certain types of puzzles where I'd be like, thank God that's done, and then fast forward 6 hours later, I get to an area and I'm like, oh God, we're back to these fucking things again. And like that was it, and it was just like the 2-minute, 5-minute annoyance of like, all right, how do I get this door open? I don't know. I don't mind puzzles. I just didn't think some of the puzzles weren't that rewarding or exciting or whatever. They felt annoying. But other than that, I mean, the story, the graphics, the music, the reveals, the combat, everything. It's damn near fucking perfect.
9.7.
Then I finally rolled credits on Final Fantasy VII Remake. I finally did it. I've been playing that game on and off for fucking 6 months. I'm pretty annoyed with myself because where I left it about a month ago, I was 30 minutes from beating it. I literally last night was like, well, God of War's done. I know I'm close to the end in Final Fantasy VII Remake, so let me fire that back up. And literally, I open the checkpoint, I walk 10 feet, there's a huge 15-minute cinematic, and then they're like, okay, there's no turning back, we gotta go do this. I'm like, all right, and then I go do it, and it's like big boss fight into another big boss fight into another big boss fight, credits.
That's so on brand for you.
Yeah, it is. No, that thing could have been beaten fucking months ago. But I really enjoyed it. I'm really excited to play the next two in the series. I do think they're pulling a little bit of a Hobbit, personally. I don't think that the Final Fantasy VII story is really deserving of a full-blown trilogy, but I'd love to be wrong. I'd love for them to prove me wrong and find more threads to pull on, but overall rolling credits on the game didn't feel quite as satisfying as I would have liked. It felt... I'll tell you exactly what I said when I rolled credits and I looked at my wife. I said they kind of Fellowship of the Ring us there a little bit, because like in Fellowship of the Ring, Lord of the Rings, nothing is really resolved. It's just kind of like, okay, well, see you next year. And you're like, there's so much shit in the air. Which, I mean, granted, it's the first of a trilogy. That's supposed to be the case, but there was no like satisfying like, okay, cool, we did it, guys. It just kind of things happened and then credits rolled and it was like, oh, right, there's two more. But that being said, the character models in the game are great. The music is great. The combat system is fun. Gets old after a while, but I think that's the case with kind of all the Final Fantasy games. Don't at me, Final Fantasy fans. Yeah. JRPGs, you eventually get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm ready to be done with this game now. Everything that can be done in this game, I've done, but I already know they're going to make me do it for 20 more hours, and that's, the case. But still really enjoyed it. I'm not ready to put a number on that one yet. I need to process it a little bit more.
What's the gut?
Still playing.
I can feel you out so quick, dude. Is it a 7 or an 8?
It's an 8-ish. I would say 8-ish.
Is it
probably low 8-ish?
So it's not an 8.5?
It's close. I think it's close to an 8.5.
So it's an 8.4.
Okay, that's fine. I'm good with that. You can put that down on the books.
I know how to beat it out of you.
And I'm still playing Midnight Suns. I'm at like 65, almost 70 hours. Another person has been added to the team. I've revealed almost all of the mysteries around the Abbey, which is sort of the, I don't want to say open world, but when you're not doing the missions and you're running around the grounds, there's lots of little nooks and crannies and puzzles and things to solve. I've gotten most of that done.
The base camp.
I still really have no sense of like how close I am to the end of this game. I don't know. It just keeps going, and now it keeps adding people to the team, and I keep leveling up my friendship with them, and I'm still having a fucking ball with it. So I'm taking my time, and this does feel like a game that if you were a Mike Dawson and you wanted to play it on story mode, you probably would have been done with this game 20 hours ago. Because I know Mike likes to just like give me the story missions. I'm just going to do the story missions. But with me, I'm looking at my deck going, I want to make that card stronger. What do I need to do that? Okay, I need heroic essence. Okay, let me go find a mission that has heroic essence. Okay, cool. I got the heroic essence. Let's upgrade that ability. Okay, we got that ability. Shit, I need to level up Wolverine. All right, let me go do a mission with Wolverine, level up Wolverine a little bit. And I'm just like, I know it's a grind. I recognize that I'm in the grind, but I'm having fun playing the game, so I don't give a shit. I'm having fun going on missions and I will say similar to XCOM and XCOM 2, when missions go poorly, they go really, really badly. There are these new enemies that every time you do damage to them, they split and become two. If you don't kill them, if you kill them, they die. But let's say they have 300 health and you hit them for 100. They now have 200 health, they split, and now there are two targets that both have 100. The problem with these guys is they can also multiply a few of the other demon characters. They can't multiply human characters, but they can multiply demon characters. So there are these big annoying demons that make shields and hit really fucking hard. That one little straggler that you left over in the corner at 50 health, he goes over and doubles the demon. So now the demon that had 600 health, there's two of them, and they have 300 health each. And it can go really badly, really fast. But I like that sort of dynamic. Every mission, it could go really, really well, and you knock it out in 3 turns. Or it could go really poorly, and you're going, man, bringing Doctor Strange on this mission was a bad call. And I love that sort of dynamic. And I highly recommend play it on normal. Don't play it on easy. Play it on normal. It's challenging, but it's not brutal. But I'm fucking loving this game. It's so up my alley. I knew I was gonna love it. Every time I sit down and play it, I still can't believe that I'm playing a turn-based tactical Marvel game by the guys that made XCOM. And like, it's there. It's real. I'm playing it. It exists. So I'm very happy with it. And today I fired up and played for about 30 minutes a game that's been around for a little while. I think it came out on Game Pass a couple of years, or no, on PlayStation Plus a couple of years back. Superliminal. Are you familiar with this one, Mike?
Checking.
Superliminal is the game that plays with perspective. So it's very similar to Portal in the way that you sort of wake up, you're in a room, and each room you go into is a new puzzle that you have to figure out. And when I say it messes with perspective, the first puzzle you do, there's a gigantic chess piece blocking the door. And if you pick it up and look at it and go take it over to the table and aim it at the table so it looks like it's real small, it is now real small. So it's this really cool mind-bendy sort of puzzle game. I in the last week, I've seen a couple TikToks of people playing it, and I was like, damn, this game looks like fun, man. And it is. So far, I'm only 30, 40 minutes in, but like I was really enjoying it, and even Damon was looking over my shoulder going, what is this game? What is it called? I want to play it. It's really, really cool. It does a lot of really neat puzzles. I see your eyes getting big. It's got some wild shit in it.
No, I made that face because this is an odd thing. Metacritic. I love Metacritic.
Yeah.
Metacritic is 75, which is decent. User score is 9.6.
Wow.
That's fucking wild.
That's a crazy user score. No, but it's very similar to Portal, almost to detriment. It is very similar. There's a detached female voice guiding you through the levels. It is very much like a Portal sort of thing, but the game does enough interesting things with perspective, and the puzzles are really cool. And none of them have really like had me stuck to where I was frustrated yet. I'm sure that will happen. But it's on Game Pass. You can just install it and play it right now. It feels like it's probably going to be a 3-4 hour game, honestly. But I'm enjoying it. I love fun little puzzle games like that. I mean, I beat the first Portal in one sitting, so I have the ability to get sucked into those and just bang them out. But yeah, it's fun. I'll probably play it some more.
Yeah, for comparison's sake, like Midnight Suns, 83 on Metacritic, very good. User scores 5.6.
Wow, that's super low.
Hasn't been out super long though, so maybe that'll change. Right. I guess on to me then.
Yep.
Immortality. This is an interesting, well, just by its nature. Okay, Immortality is an interesting game. Immortality is there's someone who it's for. And that someone is probably not whoever's listening to the show. Just going to put that out there.
Okay.
Maybe it is. There's a chance because gamers don't just wear one hat. I am a prime example of this because I'm a bit of I like movies. I like long drawn out movies. I like things that make me think. And that's more of what Immortality is. And that is both what is rewarding and frustrating about Immortality. Immortality does something that I love, where it just, you open up the game, there's no fucking explanation at all, and my first hour with it, I think I said this on the show a couple weeks ago, was just going, what am I doing?
Right.
I'm watching all these weird clips. There's people fucking like every 3 seconds. I'm just boobies flying everywhere.
Flying boobies.
Yeah. There's fucking on graves. Like there's just wild shit. And that's got some people's attention. They're like, oh, okay. And the question, of course, that's in their mind is it just boobs? Now you get full frontal. It's the full Monty, ladies and gentlemen, of both genders. So hold on to your dicks. But
okay.
A Way Out does that also, by the way. You get some dong action in A Way Out. Yeah, so Immortality is okay. It's okay. I don't agree, now that I've experienced the whole game, that it should have been nominated for anything other than perhaps some of the actors' performances. But then, like the Game Awards is what I'm referring to. That was mostly for voice actors, not like full acting. So it's kind of weird to talk about Immortality in the sense of a traditional video game. And that some people are playing it on gaming PCs, some people are playing it on consoles, and some people are playing it with their fucking TV remote on Netflix. Because that's the thing that you can do with this game. You can play it on Netflix if you want to. So there's a lot of people who it's probably for. Here's what it does well. It's weird. It does that very well. It is entertaining. And it's kind of freaky. Those three things it does well. What it does poorly is it does a terrible job of explaining what the fuck you're doing. It does a terrible job of explaining what the actual story of the game is. And it does a terrible job at sticking the landing at the end. When it tries to tie everything together, it just fucks up hard. And so I would not recommend you play this game. I would recommend you skip it unless you are just really in to watching the same 100 clips over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's gonna be a no for me, dog.
On the weight of its performances and its artistic prowess, I begrudgingly give this game a 7.2.
Okay.
Because the things that it does masterfully. And for some people, the kind of vague storytelling and things, it's going to work for them. But for me, to quote Randy Jackson, that's a no for me, dog. I get it. I get what it was trying to do. I get what the ending meant. But it's just, it wasn't my cup of tea. Immortality, 7.2. Will not be in the Game of the Year discussion. Speaking of games that won't be in the Game of the Year discussion, Power Wash Simulator. I don't know why the fuck I started this game, but it came out, I was like, oh, yeah, this was months ago I started playing it. Like, right when it first came out on Game Pass. And I got really far in it, and I'm like, holy shit, I've played this game for 40 hours, and I'm not done yet. And I'm so bored, I want to stab my eyes out with a spoon. And my wrists hurt from
40 hours?
I was 40 hours in when I stopped playing. And, you know, I got this new gaming PC, so I had the Xbox PC Game Pass fired back up, and it's sitting there looking at me going, you motherfucker, you're turning into Johnny Paulus. You started this bitch. You got really far in it. You've got like 4 levels left, and you'll be done. 25 hours later, it was more than I thought left. It took me 65 hours to beat this game.
Bro, that's a lot of power washing.
It took me 65 hours.
Oh, that is pain.
To beat Power Wash Simulator. And it's the most boring game of all time. But that being said, it executes what it sets out to do very well. But that doesn't make it good.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it a good game. You know, Paperboy was not an accurate paper delivery game, but I argue that's what made it entertaining. Is that you had guys doing fuck exercises in the middle of a sidewalk, and then death chasing after you, and then some guy with a jackhammer. That and you die as a paperboy. That was entertaining. Power Wash Simulator, oh no, there's no threat. There's nothing. It's you and your washing thing. And you're just out there scrubbing.
Well, and that 60 hours is just plain too much. You know, I think of like Gas Station Simulator, right? Which I loved Gas Station Simulator, but I played it for, I don't know, 15, 20 hours and it was done. I kind of had done everything that needed to be done. I'd maxed everything out. My only choice then was just to keep going. And I was like, I guess I'm done.
It's a 5.8.
Yeah, that sounds
because
right.
it runs. It does run. It didn't crash. It is a video game. There was no controversy surrounding its release. It set out to do what it wanted, and it did it. But it's like milk. You know what I mean? It's not skim milk, but it's definitely 2%.
Okay.
You're not getting the full experience.
So what would you say is the replay value? Are you looking forward to jumping back in and firing that thing back up again?
Now here's what's funny, right? Some people are going to be all about this game. Like this is going to check every box for some people. You know, those people that overuse the word satisfying that make me want to fucking bash my face into a brick wall. Like they'll stare at videos of like some fucking psychopath just slicing butter and be like, oh, that's so satisfying. It's like, if you're that person, like you want to watch babies step on Play-Doh, like that's your thing that you get off on, you're going to love Power Wash Simulator. Like that game is built for you, dog. And you can play it with your friends. So, like, if you've got friends that you used to gather around and watch people swish paint together with, or pop ice cubes out of ice trays with, now you've got a video game that you can play together. So some people are going to rate this very highly. And I would say that if you're the person that likes to use the word satisfying a lot, then this game's probably for you, and you're going to rate it much higher and really like it. For me, I hate filth, and there's just unending waves of filth, and that was what was driving me to insanity, was that I must clean everything.
Right.
And so I'm angry the entire time, just like I am. Like when I clean my house, I'm angry cleaning. You know what I mean? There's no.
And then every time it fires up the next level, you're like, "Fuck!" And everything's disgusting again.
There's no joy to a single thrust of the vacuum cleaner. It's brow down.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm angry cleaning. So, Power Wash Simulator. I hate you. You're perfect for someone else, but never, ever again shall. To answer your question, that is so uninstalled forever.
Got it.
Power Wash Simulator. Okay, so those are the 2 games I completed. So I'm on a roll already this year. We've taken down 4 games in 2 weeks. 1 week? 1 week. 4 games. Demon Souls, I'm still cruising along with. I've taken down like the big dragon demon, which is like a pivotal point in the game. Having so much fun with it. The game's so good. It's so good. And you feel so accomplished every time you clear a zone in Demon Souls. I'm going to have high praise for this game, I predict. Considering my love of Elden Ring, and that I would say that minus the beautiful, amazing, perfect open world of Elden Ring, Demon Souls does everything else better. But that is a big thing that Elden Ring has over it.
It is.
A big goddamn thing. But it plays like a dream. It's so nice. It's so nice to look at. They really need to bring this thing to PC. I was actually having a discussion about that, and we had theorized that the only reason it hasn't come to PC is because no actual just PS5 exclusive has come to PC. Every game that has come over has been, maybe it has been out on PS5, but it's also on PS4. So Demon Souls, we await you on the Master Race. You need to come there quickly, please. More on that when I have it completed. That'll be soon. Star Citizen, I keep playing. I'm so hooked on that. 2 new games to talk about. Man, we have... This is a good episode. We're just talking about fucking video games. I like this.
Amen.
2 more games that I've been playing. I'm a good percentage of the way through that new game called High on Life. And that game you're either going to love, and it's totally going to like rub all the right nodes on your brain, or you're going to get one taste of the humor and go, what is it? No. I am the prior category where it's all the good. It plays amazing. Again, it just runs great, plays great, looks incredible. The writing is hilarious.
Dan Harmon, man.
Who the fuck is hating on this game? The scores are so mixed on it. I don't understand. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Play High on Life. I'll discuss it more upon completion. Next one, racing fans, perk up your ears. I finally rebuilt my racing simulator, and to celebrate, I snagged a copy of WRC Generations. Johnny is thrilled to finally hear about this game because he can't wait to play it himself.
Can't wait.
Kyloton has been running the WRC banner for a long time now. And they really turned things around. I think we might have talked about this on the show, like in its early days, but they really turned the series. You could see them turning the corner from being a shitty company to a good one around WRC 7. Then V Rally 4 came out, and that was kind of a step back. But WRC 8 was really when they found something. They brought out a great career mode. Graphically, it took a step forward to catching up to EA and the Dirt Rally series. And that has baby stepped along, from WRC 8 to 9 to 10. And we're finally, and I've played every one of them. I get the games every time they come out. WRC Generations is the first time I would say that they have surpassed Codemasters in every way imaginable.
That's big words coming from you.
And I mean, I love Dirt Rally too. That is a special game. But I finally feel like this game plays as good, if not better, than Dirt Rally. I think part of that is that I'm playing on PC, and that I have a big stinking 3080 in my machine, and they have really, really good integration with the DLSS AI. And I mean, the frames when that thing is running in performance on DLSS, and you have everything maxed out, it looks like you're doing it for real. It's the smooth. There's no detectable frames. It's just glass. And it's amazing. I mean, it works so good. And so they already had the advantage in the interface and the career mode. And they've really taken that a step further. And some of the other things that were missing from the previous WRC games was every rally game needs to address the glory days of rally. WRC's only been around since the 1970s. It is a young sport. And actual rally goes back a little bit further than that. But the WRC itself is a young organization. And so it's really important for them to bring the Group B cars of the 80s in, to bring the icons of the 90s in, the Toyota Celicas, the Subaru Imprezas, the Mitsubishi Lancers, and then those cars that really just kicked off modern car culture in the early 2000s, the WRX STIs and all of those cars, and they're all fucking there. So Generations is the first game that really sinks its teeth into the past. And you have all of the championship WRC cars finally available for you to play with. And it is awesome. So if you want to play in Sebastian Loeb's Citroens, guess what? All 3 of the different models that he won his 9 world championships are there. They're all there. Every world championship winning rally car is in this game. So you get to play with everything. It's great. It's just, it's absolutely perfect. And I think this is their last run with WRC, unfortunately. But if so, they've gone out with a bang. Because I think Codemasters is taking over. I think Codemasters will eclipse this with whatever their next project is. But right now, WRC Generations is the king of the mountain. And it's not even close at this point. So
that's awesome.
Those games have always worked well with controllers. For as realistic, hyper-realistic as they are and perfect as they work in a true racing simulator, Kyloton has always done a great job of having that version of the game that works well with controllers. So if your kids or you want a more arcade kind of experience, the game will cater to that. You can pick up a controller and play these games 100% and have an absolute blast with them. And that's something I've always liked with them. But if you want to sit down in a sim and do it hardcore, it does it perfectly now. So that wraps up. That wraps up. Yes, that is it. Oh my God, we are 45 minutes into the show. That wraps up what we've been playing this week. That's fantastic. Look at you. You beat 2 games. I beat 2 games. We played other stuff. It's like we have a video game podcast or something.
I know. Look at us go.
All right. On to the news. So there was one particular thing in the news that caught my eye this week that we're going to run through here, and it's some fuckery. So hold on to your gym shorts, class. But we have to talk about limited run games. So I'm a long supporter of limited run games, which, to be honest, if you buy a product from limited run, you are a long supporter because it takes them about a year to ship your shit. In total, I've bought 17 limited run games titles, which isn't a ton. I mean, some people buy every ones that come out, but I buy the ones that are important to me. But 17 is, I guess do the math. 17 times 40 is probably about how much money I've spent with them. So it's a considerable amount. So limited run, certainly I have enjoyed doing lots of business with. And I'm sad to say that they've gotten themselves in the news in a bit of between a rock and a hard place, I would say. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. Here's limited run games. And let's dig into why and what is happening with them. So I did a little investigative journalism. So here we go. On this week's news, we have to look over some more controversy, this time surrounding a company I have long supported. Here's what you need to know. Limited run games are in the news this week for some controversial reasons. Twitter user, you're going to love this name, Purple Tinker Hates Elon, made several posts highlighting some issues they had taken with now former limited run games community manager Carolyn. They write, unless and until she is fired from the company permanently, I'm not giving them another single dime. Well, good luck buying anything for a fucking dime from those crooks. But that being said, the quote that she had dug up from 2016 that limited run games former community manager Carolyn made reads, quote, this it's not good. Okay, so
it's not a good look.
Not good. Here's what Carolyn, former community manager, limited run games, wrote back in 2016. So, quote, if you think the number of trans crying about using a bathroom is higher than the pervs using the excuse, you are what's wrong with this world, end quote. Purple Tinker Hates Elon goes on to show that Carolyn follows the Libs of TikTok page, which if you haven't looked at, it's just a bunch of people having fucking meltdowns and acting crazy. I mean, as further evidence as to why she needs to be dismissed from limited run games. And Johnny, you're going to like this one. She also sourced Carolyn's support of upcoming release Hogwarts Legacy as further reasoning. So Carolyn had made a post saying, I'm excited to play Hogwarts Legacy. It looks good. That was the tweet. Well, lo and behold, as a result of this activity on Twitter, Carolyn was terminated from Limited Run Games. Limited Run Games posted to their Twitter account, quote, LRG, Limited Run Games, respects all personal opinions. However, we remain committed to supporting an inclusive culture. Upon investigating a situation, an employee was terminated. Our goal as a company is to continue to foster a positive and safe environment for everyone. Johnny, that's kind of the framework of what happened. Yep. Help us digest all of this.
Sure. So Carolyn was fired for being a conservative. That's kind of the simple way to put it.
I wouldn't say a conservative because I'm a conservative, right?
No, I know that. But okay, here I'll rephrase that then. A conservative who followed mainstream media within the time of 2016. I remember 2016 with this was when trans rights were finally starting to come into the limelight. It was becoming a big focus point, and there was the big argument about gender neutrality with the bathrooms what bathroom are they going to use? If you're a trans woman, if you have a male's machinery, are you supposed to use a women's bathroom? And what happened was the conservative media, namely Fox News, went all in on the straw man argument of, you don't want these pervy cross-dressers being in the bathroom with your children or with your wives. And that was the narrative that they pushed every single day. And the fact of the matter is, and there are reports that show this, there was no increase in sexual assaults in bathrooms in any of these places where these laws were passed, where there were either gender neutral bathrooms, or a trans woman would use a woman's bathroom and a trans man would use a men's bathroom. There was no shown increase in attacks or any of this, but the narrative still from the conservative right-wing media, mainstream right-wing media, was, you have to fight this with everything that you have. You want to keep these perverts out of the bathroom, right? So Carolyn saw this misinformation and regurgitated it 6 years ago. And like you said before you started, it's a bad look. It's a bad tweet. It's a real bad tweet. I don't like it. But I also don't think she should have been fired. I think this is a situation where the boss should walk in, knock on the door, and go, hey, we got to talk about this. There's a tweet you had that came up recently, and here's the tweet, and here's what people are saying about it. We need to face this head on. I would like to sit with you. Let's craft an apology letter. Maybe we make a video. Maybe we do something. But let's face this directly. I've grown as a person. I no longer feel the way that I do. Yada 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 yada. Let's get ahead of this instead of her being fired. I mean, I see you disagreeing by facial reaction. What do you think?
Well, that's a lot of inflection. I mean, we don't know what happened behind closed doors here.
That's correct.
The thing is, and we're going to dig into this some, is not so much what she said or when she said it, right? It's more that the way that the world reacts to things is with straw man apologies, just fake fucking apologies.
Yep.
Because I wouldn't think that Carolyn might feel any differently today, that she's uncomfortable with a trans person in the bathroom. She might just be wired that way. I don't know. I don't personally have any kind of issue with it at all. But, I can't say what does and doesn't make someone else uncomfortable. No idea. The thing that drives me a little wild is that the reaction to this stuff is always wrong. It doesn't matter what you do, if you react to it, which is the human instinct, is to react to these things. Just as you were throwing out all these ideas. Let's react this way. Let's react this way. But the thing is that reaction is really where all the trouble starts. Yep. I think in the case of Carolyn, that none of this blew up. None of this gained attention until Limited Run Games came out and said, hey, we fired this person. That's when everybody started paying attention to it. And the reason why I say that isn't because it isn't because Carolyn needs to be condoned or anything like that. But what occurs in public will always be under scrutiny. And so that's actually a perfect transition to where we're going next. Is I think that it needs to become commonplace in this age of Twitter and documenting things that you said, 6 years ago. Every single human being was a completely different person. 100%. You were in a completely different spot in your life. You were a completely different person. Your viewpoints could have changed. So maybe we need to start looking at the people who dig through 6 years of tweets of random fucking people like the community manager at Limited Run Games.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to start looking at who we're answering to. As in the case of this whole mess, which it is something that you need to know about. I mean, 3 million people have looked at this on Twitter. Yeah. And I'm sure by the time you listen to this, that number will have doubled. The person who did all this work to blackball Carolyn, I said their Twitter handle. It's Purple Tinker Hates Elon. Okay. This person is IRL is someone named Jessica Blank. Jessica Blank is a trans woman. I kind of have a mix of she and they in my writing here in our show notes, but as far as I can tell, they sort of bounce between that. But they tend to prefer to go with she, so we'll roll with that.
Okay.
So Jessica Blank, she's the founder of a little well-known convention, actually, one with much controversy in the past of itself.
Yeah.
BronyCon, actually, she's one of the founders of BronyCon. That's not anything shocking or frankly weird in my opinion. I think whatever floats your boat, floats your boat. What is disturbing though is that Blank has a long history, well documented, of absolutely horrendous behavior. Things that make what she's whistleblowing about look juvenile. Incredibly well documented. I mean, she can't escape any of this stuff. It's been on the internet since like 2017, some of the things I dug up. So a quick Google search of Jessica Blank, and I do, because there's a famous actress by that name as well. So I did Jessica Blank BronyCon. You can do this on your own. Pulls up several sites of long threads highlighting her behavior, which that in and of itself should be a red flag. Like if you can do a Google search and it's all people with just like these manifestos about why you're the worst human being on the planet Earth, that's a red flag. Yeah. So some examples of her behavior include defending sexual relationships between 14-year-olds and adults. She gets into this big argument with someone on Twitter very publicly that a 14-year-old having sex with their teacher isn't necessarily rape, is the argument that she's having. She doxes on multiple occasions individuals who disagree with her in online debates. She threatens physical violence against people. And she had this person who was a victim of hers that she was stalking. She publicly outed this person as a rape survivor when this person didn't want that information out there. And then when this person still rejects them, she sends them pedophilia rape porn. I can't make this stuff up, and I mean, I found the receipts. If anybody really wants to see them, I've got them. It's bad. Johnny can see them. I have them in our document. It's not good.
It's not.
So the internet works in wild ways, and there's a lot of people that don't support trans rights or anything about that community. I would say a lot of people aren't on board with that yet. And what ends up happening is communities need to choose their voices very carefully. Communities need to choose their voices very carefully. Purple Tinker Hates Elon, a.k.a. Jessica Blank, who's by all rights just a horrible human being, has 3,000 Twitter followers. So when she starts making a stink about some random person, it makes noise on Twitter. And, you know, Limited Run Games comes out and says, we've done an investigation. Bullshit. What did you investigate? Did you look at who you were addressing at all? Apparently not.
Yep.
In further irony, John Fairhurst, the CEO of Limited Run Games, in his Twitter bio, it says, my tweets don't reflect the views of my employer. The aftermath of all this has been absolutely ugly. Limited Run Games is getting fucking slogged on Twitter. I'm actually aghast that it's like 99% of people coming after them. It's overwhelmingly a negative reaction to what they've done by letting this person
100%.
go. So Limited Run Games has found out quickly that most people don't support this kind of cancellation. Their Twitter has been bombarded with negative responses to their actions. As of my writing this, 2.9 million people have viewed their tweet. It's up to like 3.2 already. So as a result, Limited Run Games have now disabled comments from all of their posts. You can't comment on their posts unless they tag you. Jessica Blank has deleted her social media accounts. Now you can find all of this stuff, because everything you post online is forever on archive.ph, which just takes a snapshot of the internet and saves it every day. So you can still find all this stuff there. But just so in summary, all the puzzle pieces are now laid out in front of us. We have something that someone did on their personal account 6 years ago. Some random internet troll brought it up to make noise and probably for their own spotlight. Posted all of this stuff. Limited Run Games sees it and says, oh my God, we have to react to this, and fires someone. And I mean, the names are named. By them firing that person and making that post, everyone on the planet knows who Carol Lynn is now. So she's fucked.
Yep.
There are some that would say that Carolyn deserves what's come to her. A lot of people that wave a lot of different flags say that she deserves this. And you know what? If you feel that way, I'm not going to tell you how to feel.
Yep.
But if I'm looking at this whole situation and thinking about the motive of the person who started all of this and looking at the blowback that Limited Run Games is facing, I'm having a hard time putting it all together, so I'm going to throw it back to Johnny to maybe help with that. So help me put this all together. What do you think of all of this? It's a lot.
He got James Gunned. Carol Lynn got James Gunned. Years back, Disney fired James Gunn from doing Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because a right-wing, I'll just say dickhead, found these old tweets of James Gunn when James Gunn was working at Troma Entertainment. Like, he was working for a movie company that all they do is shock value. That's it. That is Troma Entertainment, in a word, is shock value. That's all they are. And so while he was working for Troma, he had some distasteful jokes on Twitter. Similar to when, the dudes are hanging out in their teens and they're sharing dead baby jokes, right? They're gross. They would gross out your mom. Your boss wouldn't want to hear you repeat them. So digging up old dead baby jokes from whatever, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, however old it was, and then showing them, putting a flashlight on them and going, is this really who Disney should be employing to make movies? And Disney fired James Gunn. And then what happened was everyone that works with James Gunn rallied, the internet rallied, and basically the entire internet's consensus was he shouldn't have been fired for this. Right? This isn't a rape allegation. This isn't a a sex trafficking allegation. This is a distasteful tweet from years ago. And like you said, the person who tweeted that tweet doesn't exist anymore. They're not here any longer. They've grown, they've changed, they've become someone else. So I'm not going to speak for Carolyn and say whether she would agree with the statement that she made or whether her ideas have changed on it. But regardless, somebody dug back into the Wayback Machine.
Why her?
With bad intentions.
Yeah.
Why her? I'll tell you exactly why. Jessica Blank is a trans woman, right? And what is the number one thing that the trans community has been rallying on nonstop within the gaming world for months? Hogwarts Legacy. So Carolyn
That's right.
Carolyn made her tweet saying, "I'm really excited about Hogwarts Legacy."
Recently.
And a trans woman said, "I've got to bring this motherfucker down." That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened. That's what made Purple Tinker go into the Twitter and say, "I bet I can find something that can destroy this woman's career." And the thing that really sucks is that she succeeded. And this emboldens people with poor intentions that want to ruin people's lives because they're fucking internet trolls. Purple Tinker, I am not anti-trans. I am not sexist or ableist or anything like that, right? I am as open as they come. But when I look at the posts that you shared with me, all I see is a really shitty internet troll. That's all the fuck she is. She digs up grime and dirt and grunge, and when somebody tries to battle her or contest her, she finds whatever she can to throw at you and destroy you, dox you, whatever. This is just a terrible person. So, to the point you made, it's one thing if let's say, I don't know, Time Magazine found this old quote and they made an article about limited run games. Like, that's something you got to respond to. Right? Somebody on Twitter with 3,000 followers, I know 3,000 followers is more than I have, is more than our podcast has, but regardless, it's not somebody with 200,000 followers or 1 million followers or 10 million followers. This is one internet troll decided that they didn't like the Hogwarts Legacy tweet from somebody and said, "I'm going to bring this person down." And the fact that she succeeded is going to further embolden internet trolls and continue this shit. I hate to be the guy on the side that's like anti-cancel culture, because I think, honestly, a lot of the people that get canceled deserve to be canceled. This was not one of those examples. Carolyn should not have lost her job. I have coworkers that have similar opinions that are perfectly good people, and they don't, bother me in any way. They're not dangerous to anyone. They watch misinformation and regurgitate it sometimes.
Yeah, it's like just being closed-minded. Like,
yes,
we were talking earlier about, urinals in the men's room, because this is the stuff me and Johnny talk about offline, and how, I don't like using a urinal that doesn't have like the little dividers on the side. You know what I mean? It just kind of feels weird. So, like, there's really no situation where you're in a bathroom and people's junk is flying around. Like, that just doesn't happen. Yep. So Carolyn is like, I'll read her quote again because we've gotten really far away from it. But here's exactly what she said. One more time.
The tweet that got her fired
If you think the number of trans crying about using a bathroom is higher than the pervs using the excuse, you're what is wrong with this world. So it's literally just a regurgitation of the Fox News headline in 2016.
Correct.
And it's not saying that people shouldn't be able to use the bathroom. It's just the fear mongering that was going on of, well, ladies, if a trans woman comes into the bathroom, you're just getting raped, is basically what was getting spread around the news, which is a farce.
Yep.
If some rapist was going to come after you in the bathroom. They're not waiting for a law to get passed to give them permission.
Very true. No, but like, to put it into 2020 perspective, right? There was a lot of misinformation throughout the entire pandemic. This would be like somebody tweeted in 2020, I don't think that I should have to wear a mask every day. I'm tired of wearing the mask. I've been wearing it for 6 months. I don't give a shit who you are or where I am. I'm not wearing the mask. And then 6 years later, somebody pulls that tweet back out and goes, you got to fire this person because they didn't believe in wearing a mask. Now, granted, my example is not as severe. It doesn't really, it doesn't really hurt anyone. But it's a similar point, right? It's the misinformation of that side of the political spectrum getting hammered every day. Every day they're hearing these pervs in the bathroom. Your kids, what about your kids? What about your wives? You don't want these pervs coming into the bathroom. And Carolyn bought into it, and she tweeted. It's a distasteful tweet. I don't agree with it, but it should not have cost her job.
Yeah, now it's just completely backfired on Limited Run. My least favorite word of all time is getting hurled around like fucking air. Oh God, I hate it so much when people say woke. I hate it so much. It's nails on a chalkboard. But you've got like all of these guys in their comment sections now. Go woke, go broke. It's like, oh, it just makes me want to fucking kill myself right then and there when I read that. And then the worst part is, it's like they're not wrong. It's like, whenever companies do this stuff, it blows up in their face. So there just needs to be some different protocol for handling these things.
Yeah.
They need to look at the severity. Like if Carolyn came out and said all trans people should die.
Yep. No argument. Or
you'd be like, wow, that is hate. But
or a photo came out of Carolyn at the January 6th in the fucking
breaking the law or some
shit. Breaking the law in the Capitol halls. Sure, cancel them.
But
cancel them.
Just spouting some misinformation on the internet. Right. When she's nobody. She was nobody before this. She's still nobody. Community manager at Limited Run Games. You're nobody. Right. My job's more important than that. So yeah, this is just stupid, and but it's kind of an interesting talking point. Here's where I stand on it. Okay, I'm not gonna have some knee-jerk reaction. Go, I can't believe Limited Run Games did this. I'm never gonna spend a penny with them again. Their intentions are good.
Yep,
their intentions are good. It's just, what do? You're fucked either way.
You really are.
You don't fire the person. I think that they probably are less fucked if they just ignore it. And they don't screw up somebody's life if they just ignore it. So,
I mean, if I ran Limited Run's social media account, I'll tell you what I would have done. I would have done the same research that you did, and I would have compiled a hit piece similar to what Purple Tinker did, and I would just post that thing at them and say, "This you?" ? Just fight fire with fire.
I say fight fire with silence.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it needed to be addressed. It wasn't like Purple Tinker's quote had gone massively viral and was taking the internet by storm.
But part of it too is like people want to be progressive. So this Josh Fairhurst guy probably saw this and goes, I have to do something, or I'm part of the problem. And, that's just not it. Like, you don't have to do all this stuff on this grand facade, So, interesting thing to talk about. I'm going to keep doing business with Limited Run Games. Sucks what happened.
Same.
Hopefully this is a learning experience for them. That's the right way to react to these things. Maybe this is a learning experience for them. Carolyn could just had a learning experience. But I'm not one of these guys that's like, oh, you need to fire her. I'm never spending another dime. What an old fucking Werther's original sucking piece of shit thing to say. I'll never spend another dime. It's like, what the fuck are you buying with a dime, you old bat? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Can't even buy a gumball for a dime.
I'll never spend another dime with you. Okay, well, great. Really gonna miss that fucking dime.
Those stacks of dimes are gonna start dwindling.
Schemer from fucking Thomas the Tank Engine with the coin dispenser. Yeah, damn it. I was really hoping to get some of them. No, I'm going to keep doing business with them. You know, they tried to do the right thing, blew up in their face. At least now this Jessica Blank person has, as a result, been super outed for what a piece of shit they are, and hopefully stops being a voice in the trans community. Because I said this briefly earlier. I'm going to touch on it, and then we're done. But communities, especially of minorities, you need to be really careful with who the voices and faces of your plight is. You need to be really careful. You know, there's good ones and bad ones, and bad ones set you back horrendously. So be careful about who you're following and who you're supporting. Question everything. You know, this Jessica Blank is just another in the list of fucking hundreds of people who have been the faces for good causes that ended up to be terrible people. Be careful with who your voices are, because whoever you garner around, chances are they're not going to be a Martin Luther King Jr. So be careful. Be careful. Don't give people with histories of sending pedophilia rape to trauma survivors. Don't follow them. Don't egg them on. That's not who you want representing you. Oh, episode 99, man.
Yeah, bud.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for One Up in the urgency of time. One Up. Johnny, hit it.
One Up. My One Up is H Mart. Now, I don't know how big H Mart is. I don't know if they're nationwide or not. But what H Mart is a gigantic Asian supermarket. So, went in there this past week, bought a big bag of rambutan, a handful of persimmons, some fresh bok choy, a bunch of fresh ramen noodles, fresh basmati rice. When you go into like the sauce sections, like, you know, you go to a regular grocery store, there's like, this shelf has a couple little sauces. Like, no, they have an entire aisle of just like soy sauces and sweet chili sauce and rice wine vinegar and all that shit. If you have never been to one of these places, you need to Google wherever the local like Asian supermarket is. Go in and be mind blown at the choices in snacks, fresh seafood, the produce section alone. You'll blow your own mind with just the mushrooms. You're like, there's 20 mushrooms here I've never heard of, and I love mushrooms. So yeah, check out your H Mart if they exist in your area, and if they don't, find the equivalent. Go in there and go shop, because you'll find a lot of great shit.
My One Up this week is Silent Hill. I have finally finished. I have a complete set of all of the Silent Hill releases on console. All of them. And for people into game collecting, you know what a mighty goddamn that is. I got the final piece this week, Shattered Memories on PS2, which is the rarest of the Silent Hill games. I cleaned out my basement this past week. It feels cleaner down here. Through all of my yard sale misadventures, I had found just an absolute ton of bullshit that I kind of put off to the side of, I'll work on this sometime. Dupes of good games that I had. Some heavy stuff like a Game Boy disc for the GameCube. And those go for like $200. Just random shit that I didn't need laying around, and I really just didn't feel like dealing with eBay anymore or anything. So I just threw everything in totes and drove up to my favorite local game store, which is called Retro Replay. They're in Bel Air, Maryland. They're absolutely fabulous. Such a good retro game store. Took everything in, and I said, hey, I've just got bins of shit. I haven't tested it. I was cleaning out my basement. Are you guys interested? And they're like, yeah, totally. I was like, cool. Just here's everything. Throw a number on it, and we'll be good. So they comb through all of my stuff. And I mean, it's a hodgepodge of shit that's actually worth stuff and not. I said, anything that's not worth anything, put it in one of these bins. And they did that. So they came back with a figure that was great. It was like $300. I'm like, oh, perfect. And I have the whole bin of just stuff that they're like, well, we really can't pay you for this. I said, if I gave you everything in this bin for free, will you take it? And they go, yes, absolutely. You'll give that to us for free? I'm like, yes, I'm trying to get this shit out of my house. I just don't want the stuff to get thrown out. You know what I mean? It's like boxes of old, like perfect condition Atari manuals and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to be the destroyer of these relics. So if you can take them, you can put them in your manual bucket or whatever that's over on the counter. Cool. We're good. Just don't throw them out. And they're like, okay, yeah, we can totally do that. I'm like, perfect. All of it's yours. I'm leaving with none of this stuff. Shattered memories. Pull it down. It's coming home. So, because I'd known forever that they had a copy of it. And I'm like, oh my God, I just need it. I just need to finish my set. So.
That shit was calling to you in the night. Come by.
I've been staring at it for
I'm the last one.
I've been staring at it for half a year. And it's such a heavy title that it's been sitting there for half a year. Because who's going to just fork out that cash for a PS2 disc? Nobody. But on the back of a trade where I just dumped all of this stuff that I literally had $0 into. You know, I'd made my money off flipping the easier stuff. Just perfect. So that's my one up for the week. That is episode 99 of the Power Gamer podcast. Whew. We'll be back next week with episode 100, which will be a great episode as always. Until then, I'm Mike Dawson.
And I'm Johnny Paulus.
Tune in next time. Take care.
Catch you on the flip flop.
Yeah!